In today's video, I want to show you 2 free tools for setting up a payment form for your private podcasts over on Castos. They're 2 free tools. One is called JotForm, the other is called Zapier, and you've probably seen me use Zapier in other videos. Maybe you've already experienced Zapier, but it is a way to glue together applications like JotForm and Castos together to talk to one another. JotForm will serve as the contact form that you use to accept a payment, and then that will send that email subscription over to your Castos private podcast, which will then grant them access to listen to your private podcast. So if this is your first time exploring private podcasts, this is a great way to monetize your already publicly available podcast. Maybe you're a consultant and you want to have private podcasts for some of your customers. Maybe you're a private organization and you want to have private podcasts that people pay to get access to. This is a fantastic way to do it. And again, these two tools are free. We have JotForm here up on the screen. It is Black Friday today, and they're running a 50% off sale. So that happens to be prices are being slashed by 50% today. But I really want to focus on the free plan because this does not change. You can run the free plan indefinitely for up to 5 forms, 100 submissions, but most importantly is 10 payment submissions. So if you just want to trial this out and you want to get your first 10 customers on a private podcast, this is a fantastic way. And you can accept your payments through PayPal, through Stripe, and other merchant processors, which we'll take a look at in a moment. And of course, Zapier is free as well. You can use this to glue these 2 applications together. But first, let's take a look at setting up the form. I already set it up. I've already tested it out, made sure it worked, and you don't really need to go too crazy with your form. Totally up to you if you want to collect other information. But the 3 most basic requirements is a name, an email address, and whatever you want to charge for your podcast. Now, I should let it be known that we have a native integration with a membership software called MemberSpace, which you can do a lot more with. You can get much more detailed on plan prices, on multiple private podcasts. It'll automatically remove people if they cancel their plan, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a full-on integration. This is going to be just for the basic accepting of payment, and then you can remove the user later on, or they just have access indefinitely. In other words, it's not that smart, but we'll have future integrations to make this stuff a lot better in the future. So here we are. First name, last name. Very easy. You want to accept that. You want to get the email as a way to communicate with your future customer, but also Castos uses this to send them a unique email that says, here is the link to the private podcast that this person is selling. And then the price. Where do you want, how much do you want to charge, right? I think a lot of people that I talk to might be thinking like $100 for the year, right? You'll be putting out a year's worth of private podcast content to subscribers and members for at least a year. I mean, it's totally up to you on how you want to set up your payments. And when you click on properties, when you click on the product, you can see that you can enable invoices if you wanted to send somebody invoices. You can enable coupon codes. You can have multiple products. So if you wanted to have multiple private podcasts, you could certainly do that too. I created like a little premium logo out of our cover art, really simple, just threw it in canva.com and adjusted a little label on top. And then you can set the price here, right? $99, $50, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're looking to charge, you just set that up in JotForm. I forgot to save that. Let's go back in just so I can show you. 50, then scroll to the bottom and hit save. You'll see now it's set for $50. So this is the only information we need. We need name, email, and price. And once the person submits that, it'll go to Castos, and we'll hit refresh on our private podcasts. You can see that I'm in the private podcast screen within my private podcast on Castos. I have no users here. But once we tie together this Zapier, you'll see the test user get sent. So once we have our JotForm set up, we go to Zapier. And the first thing we're going to do is JotForm. Look for that. Now, I already have my JotForm and my Zapier accounts connected. It's very easy to do. You just stay logged into both of them and go into Zapier and add JotForm there. Zapier will help you walk through all of that stuff. I won't show that in this video because it's just added time. So we're going to say in JotForm, when a new submission happens, right, a new form submission happens, what are we going to do? Or first, which form? So it's going to be this account, sorry. And then which form is going to be the Audience Pro podcast. So we'll select that and we'll continue. It's just going to test it out, make sure that it can communicate. It says, yes, we can. So we'll continue. And now what? So now we're going to say we want to connect this to Castos. And we will create a new private subscriber when that submission happens. And it's going to be on this podcast. So I selected my southcoast.fm private podcast. And then because I can have multiple private podcasts, Zapier says, well, which one do you want to put it on? I'm going to put it on this new private podcast. And then it's going to say from that JotForm, it's going to ask from that JotForm, what email address field are we going to use? What name field are we going to use? So we'll click on this. Email, we'll have to say show all options, and we'll look for the email. So fields email, that's coming from JotForm. And then the name, we'll grab the name. So you'll see john.doe at example.com, John Doe as the field name, and we'll hit continue. And then we'll test and continue. So now this is going to make the test to Castos to see if it actually works and sends that data over. It says it was successful. We'll hit refresh in our Castos app, and there is the John Doe example subscribed. And from here, we can revoke access. So maybe we don't want to fully remove them, but we just want to revoke the access, or we could delete them fully. So every time, once we have that glue set in place, the JotForm and Zapier together talking to Castos, every time we have somebody submit this form, we'll get them subscribed to our private podcast. They can only successfully submit the form is when they pay us the $50 that we have set up here. And that's the most simple way to set up a payment for your private podcast hosted on Castos. Jotform.com, do it for free. Zapier.com, do it for free. And Castos podcast hosting, $19 a month for 100 private subscribers. So you can charge whatever you want to get access to your premium and private content. Pretty easy, if I do say so myself. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you want more. Thumbs up if you like the video. All right, we'll see you in the next one.